Oh, yes. Niggas have returned.
Mad clicks.
Well, the clicking is necessary, man. The clicking is necessary. It's part of the ritual now. Also, in Pokemon, back in the day, I'm sure it's still a move in the game, but back in the day, metronome was that shit, man. So I always think of metronome when a metronome is used. And, it helps me get into the spirit of the episode. You slip into it like a nice pair, new jeans and shit. It's a brand new episode. It's a brand new day for the Triple P. The perfect.
A nice new pair of alpaca slippers for you, baby.
I could fuck with some alpaca slippers, yo.
I ain't gonna hold you. Ever since American Gangster, I've wanted the alpaca rug, son. Whatever that was, he said it's $25,000 alpaca, nigga. You don't rub that, you blot that with the club soda.
Let's try to ask for wacky sponsorships every time. Like
shout out to Schweppes.
Slippers, like holla.
Shout out to Canada Dry for the club soda. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to, once again, we'll take any and just about every alcohol
Not Georgie,
sponsor.
I'm sorry. I'm a little too old to be suffering from the Georgie. Just about.
Well, that's why I say just about.
There's a line.
You know what I'm saying? Anything from like lower mid shelf to high shelf. And, several beer companies too.
So welcome back to the Perfect Plex podcast. A warm pair of alpaca slippers on your brain for this now Wednesday morning, right? Wicked Wednesday in East Williamsburg. Holla. Sounds like a nice house party in a loft somewhere. We are here to continue, or I guess begin. Well, we begun it, I guess, last time, technically.
We never ended. We never do end. It's just one
smaller and smaller.
One high-ass, drunk, vicious cycle. You know what I'm saying? We thought we left, but as soon as I walked through the doors, some Twilight Zone shit, and I walked right back in, and suddenly the microphones were set up, and here we are again.
And now it's like Time Cop. You're over here in the past, but also the present.
Yeah, without the weird long
paradoxes.
Hair. Well, I mean, the paradoxes
the perfect
are
paradox
there, but
podcast.
they're not.
You just keep coming up with three P words,
Well, no, yeah, we'll evolve into the Perfect Pecs podcast, and then I guess the Perfect Paradox will be when we finally get our Zen shit together, and we wear the the smooth collarless shirts from Holy Man, and what I'm saying, walking around with mad beads, and still the alpaca slippers.
And then
those ain't never going away.
We become the Perfect Paradigm podcast,
and of course. Some do-rags.
Warm do-rags. Are they also alpaca?
Nah, I'm not trying to faint, bro. Maybe we'll have to get back to you on that one. You know what I'm saying? I would say a good silk do-rag, but that may be a little suffocating too, but it may feel nice.
Speaking of feeling nice and people who probably need comfort right now, shout out to Clipper fans. Your man Playoff P actually showed up, kinda, tonight, only to be undone by terrible playmaking or play calling at the end.
Billy Crystal must be pissed
Him
off
and Will
right
Ferrell
now.
fucking dead, like in their homes right now.
And brother Marcellus
What other
Wiley.
famous Clipper fans can you think of? Those are the only ones I ever remember.
That's it. That is that and their owner.
Ballmer is losing it right now. Ballmer is
shout out to
balling
Steve
right now.
Ballmer,
He's balling his eyes out.
Balling.
So yeah, the simple question is always the easiest, right? The fastest. How do you feel about that end of the game sequence? Can you properly unravel it, having rewatched it real quick after it happened on Inside the NBA? Shout out to them for winning the Emmy. Good for y'all. Shout out to Ernie.
I'm saying shout
Elevator
out to our
Ernie.
brother Elevator.
Legend.
Shout out to Elevator. It was a good game. It probably should have ended a little differently. Here's where all the stat nerds and all the individuals that probably don't have anything else to do will start screaming. Watching the end of that game was a little aggravating because if you watch, sports in general, but especially sports where, you have timeouts and, you always have situational sports, basketball, football, situational baseball, but they got The Rock with about, 16.6 seconds left with a timeout left. And, a fair amount of playoff veterans on their team, some of whom have even won championships.
Rondo.
Kawhi.
Playoff Rondo, the
Playoff
supposed
Rondo.
best version of Rondo. You literally talked this man up, not 16 or 18 hours ago?
Yeah, he definitely made me look bad, but whatever.
Nah. Your analysis
I mean, it's only
was fair.
game one.
And yes, it's only game one. And his defense kept him in it. It wasn't like he was whack out there. He hit some threes.
Well, first of all, defense should be the Clippers' claim to fame. They should be outside of the '96 Bulls, they should be the best alien defensive team ever.
They definitely have the capability to be, except in that low post, because Sarge is just, and Zubats are just kind of. Sarge is on Phoenix. Sorry, Zubats is who I meant to say. He used to be a Clipper. He should have stayed.
True indeed.
Zubats, as well as he played, is still a man on the island there, getting murdered by penetration. The Jazz, that's pretty much the Jazz's MO tonight.
That is true. That is true, but I mean that was the same problem that the 2012 Heat had. So you can figure it out, especially if your wing defenders are that damn good.
And you have
your game has
third best defense, second best defense. I forget exactly because it was them, the Lakers in New York, were kind of competing for it.
Two of those teams are no longer playing.
That was the problem.
Well, yeah, but there's 16 seconds is a
in
long time,
especially basketball.
In anything, son, truthfully, in anything, especially basketball though. But I can honestly say that watching it the first time, I saw maybe 3 different opportunities for them to possibly score or make any type of difference
at least
within that last 16
toward the
seconds.
basket.
But
do you want to run it down
or get in a better damn
how it went in case for the people who didn't watch it, because we're probably about to talk about it for 20 minutes, so maybe some context.
I'll do it as best as I can.
We ain't got no screen mans like Joe Budden and them, son. We're just gonna have to go back from what we saw.
Basically, P. Jizzle, he hits the 3. They're only down 3. It's 109-112. Utah comes down. Donovan takes, I'm not, he could have probably got a better shot, but whatever, he was cooking, so him taking a little side fade, mid-range wasn't the worst thing he could have did. But either way, he misses. I believe P. Jizzle gets the rebound.
Yeah.
It was either him or Marcus Morris. One of them. One of them got the rebound.
To bring the ball up.
Yeah, he walked it up.
They didn't take their final timeout to advance the ball, which normally in conventional basketball, trademark, that's what you do, especially since you have that one timeout left. So you get that best play together that
and,
you can,
like I said earlier,
especially for a Paul George who was starting to cook at the end of the game. That was the playoff appearance that I mentioned. I mean, he played well throughout the game, but that was when he really started to take over because Utah was locking Kawhi down.
His numbers won't wow you. He only had about 20 and 11, but
he scored when it mattered. Which is what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, he
like
did,
we
and
said
I'll give him credit for that.
Last episode, he's the X Factor. He definitely became that.
Yeah.
He definitely.
Well, he should be the X Factor. I don't know if he is right now. The X Factors for me are clearly Rondo, Bobby Shmurda, and funny enough,
yeah, he's been
Nicholas
cooking. I forgot to mention him last episode.
But
shout out to him. I didn't know that story about his pops or whatever dying in front of him and shit. I've been watching this nigga play for 12 years, 13 years. I had no idea.
No, but I mean that's why you see when shit go down, he a real dude, man. But so yeah, like I said, P. Jizzle walks the rock up. They fumbled the rock several times.
They tried to swing around the perimeter for threes. They weren't getting it. They
They gave it to he threw it to Kawhi. Kawhi couldn't really do nothing with it because and they gave it to Kawhi in a horrible position, number one. But that's his fault for not getting in
because they were standing around waiting for threes. Again, they didn't. Had you called the timeout, and I know this will just be repeating each other back and forth, but had you called the timeout, then you just draw up the play for the three instead of just gambling on somebody to make one. For a three, spoiler that didn't even happen. I could see at least the shot went up. Yeah.
Now look. In all fairness to brother Ty Lue, I'm quite sure that he's probably done this before. I can't think of a game, but I'm quite sure it should even in the first round series against the Mavericks. He probably closed the game out that way because again, he had a on the floor at least. He had more than enough veteran experience in the playoffs for him to be like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to call the timeout.
Kawhi was
but my thing
lightning
is,
hot.
Yeah. I can understand why he did it because, again, like I said earlier off air, I can understand the logic of not wanting that defense to be able to set up and you kind of setting up shop with that.
I asked you this question earlier because if they didn't go with conventional basketball, which is to call the last timeout to advance the ball to the half court and set up the play.
Fuck conventional basketball, bro. Like that timeout does not roll over.
Let's ignore all that because you made this point earlier because we were trying to figure out what they were doing, and I was like, well, maybe they. Nah, and I was like, I was fumbling. Like I was really trying, guys, to really give the Clippers some kind of slack here. I was like, well, maybe they go for the 2-for-1. I don't know. Maybe they're going for the quick 2. Like they just kind of ran the play. And ran 6 seconds off the clock that they didn't need to do by bringing the ball up the court.
And again, the even within all of that, with about let's say 5.3, maybe 4.3 seconds left, when they finally fucking shoveled the rock to Marcus Morris, he pump fakes. Rudy Gobert lunges at him, which would have been in today's game, for anybody else, that would have been an automatic 3 shots at the foul line.
Through with the shot.
Automatic.
He definitely would have fallen down.
He could have, one way or another. Rudy almost bailed the Clippers out, and with a couple of seconds to go, man. Because Marcus probably makes those 3 free throws. All you got to do is play D for like another 4 seconds.
The pressure is now on Utah to make the play.
Yeah, exactly. So more than like the probability in that situation is that you're at least going to overtime, and more than likely, with what you're saying, with the resurgence of playoff play, you probably
it's at least
still game 1 in Utah, and in front of Donovan's sister and family.
Donovan also was white hot tonight, so it was like you would have again, as I said off air, you would have left the door open enough to have a gunfight. Which, even if you lose that to Donovan Mitchell, you're not mad because he had to drop 50 on you to beat you.
No, he's gonna have to
40,
average
35 to 40,
like anywhere from 30,
Especially assuming
he has to put up those D-Wade numbers.
Mike Conley was out, so it's like let's assume I want him to play, but like let's assume he's out. It'll be up to Donovan once again to put up this kind of Herculean performance, this hero ball, which ultimately makes the Jazz lose because they beat you as a team.
And I mean that's been their reality
Except,
for what the last 3 years. Donovan having to play basically that lead forward.
Definitely, and then that
guard,
player, he's the captain. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the guy on that team.
Yeah, he can do a lot, but you don't want him doing
everything. Even though he
everything.
clearly thrives with that, you could tell he likes that, which I can appreciate.
Yeah, he wants to be the man. He wants to be the guy. That's why. I mean, that's the only reason he stayed in Utah.
Questionable, but I respect
should have left, man.
Because the organization.
I do, but
which again is not. And people will say I'm bringing up the race card or whatever right now. Like they have plenty of black players, but the culture of
it's
Utah
hard not
is
to in Utah
to get,
because
either foreign players or white dudes who are good to kind of appeal to the market that they're in. And I understand why you have to do all that.
And
but at the same time, it's so amazing that you have a dude. He went to HBCU, right?
No, he went to Louisville.
He's a blackety black dude. You could tell, like. And,
yeah, definitely. Which surprised me.
So to have that
that's
as
when
your
he's
guy,
stayed. That's why I was shocked.
So good, like for them, they may not like that. I'm sure they don't, but no, they like winning
Well, they don't have no
because there's
choice.
plenty of blonde, green, and blue-eyed, children in the stands tonight waving that jersey, that 45, like dead ass. And I respect that.
And they're going to
whether it's genuine or not. Like,
all right, but real quick, who, in your opinion, and I mean, I guess statistically, who is the best Utah Jazz
He's on the
player
way.
ever?
Honestly, like.
All right, but right
on
now.
The team.
Not when
right
it's all
now,
said and
as
done,
of,
but right now.
all the Utah Jazz players. Jerry Sloan.
Historically.
Nah, you know how I feel about the mailman, but it's him because he revolutionized his position in a way that's what superstars do, and stars on the cusp of superstardom do. They revolutionize their position. They do stuff that either hasn't been seen in a while, so it's new again, or it's completely new to them because
you just take it to that
skill
whole
set,
other,
like
that
James
whole
Harden
other
with
level.
the step back three. Like the step back was always there. A few people did it, but now he's made that shit a real weapon. Like,
You know why? Because even before like the step back three, he started utilizing that shifty ass
moving
the
side to
step,
side, lateral movement.
which a lot of
he
people
also
wasn't
realized
doing.
I can't just kind of fall into the defense forever and get calls. I
can't
keep
getting hacked and whacked.
Especially since I'm a good
I need the
shooter,
J to be on.
Well.
But on a side note, bro.
But it's probably Carmelo.
I got to take it back
to begrudgingly. Much as I would love to give it to John Stockton, with as amazing a point guard as he was, without like the spark plug like Carmelo, like it wasn't gonna be half a check. You know what I'm saying?
Let's say 45% of those assists he doesn't get
It
without Carmelo.
wasn't going to be
shots.
Jeff Hornacek. Like, who else was it where those points going to come from?
Well, no, Havlicek.
And you can't have John Stockton score all the time.
That's what I'm saying. If you did, he probably wouldn't have lasted as long as he did. But, well, first of all, I asked that because...
Gordon Hayward. I mean, Gordon Hayward was balling when in his time.
No. I only asked that because that would be the general consensus, and I believe most fans and people who know what it is would say it is Karl Malone. Karl Malone, a black dude from Louisiana. Oh, not anymore, at least. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He did in the 90s, unless, he went up against Jordan. And, Jordan, the Dream on certain occasions. One year,
I was going to say Seattle.
The Rain Man in the club.
Seattle when they was cooking.
But listen, this isn't a Karl Malone, cast, even though bringing this shit up definitely took me back to 2012 and having to fucking do that goddamn Jazz challenge against the fucking Lakers and Karl Malone not showing up in the fourth, man.
We're going to do it.
Yeah, it took, I don't know how long it took.
Of course, Karl Malone
it took a while, but.
Me.
Meanwhile, he'll be getting busy in
Guys,
all 3 quarters prior to that.
Like, to any of y'all who did the Georgian challenges.
And again, this is NBA 2K 2012. 2012, because the first one was the Jordan challenge. That was 2011. And then the next one's 2012, with Magic and
it became the
Knicks against the
basketball
Hornets.
war challenges. They should bring those back. I don't know why they went. I don't know why they went away
No, they
from
should
that.
never got rid of those, man. For real, I would love to do
Klay Thompson
David Robinson
scored 37
71.
and a quarter, that would be ridiculous.
It would, but we got it. We got a little ways. We still have mad throwback games to fucking get through, son.
The spice melange,
Mad
as you
classic.
always saying, is mixing the two.
Spice melange.
Because you've had some unreal performances. Kobe getting the Kobe 81.
I was about to say until they come out with the Kobe joints, then the D Wade against the Mavericks.
In the series averaging 40.
Oh shit, yeah, and honestly, a difficult but fun one would be LeBron. Even though you lose, LeBron having to average like a 40-point triple-double against the Warriors.
Shit. That's the LeBron edition when that comes out. LeBron challenges. Try to beat Detroit
life, man. That,
in 2004, even though it
that
didn't work
one.
out.
That the game 6 against the Celtics.
Oh yeah,
both games
when they
6
staved
against the
off
Celtics
when they staved
in
off
08 and the
elimination from
2012.
these dudes, man. When they had them on the ground.
That shit, whatever that was, that game 2 against the Magic.
And beating the Hawks, if you want to really get into
shit.
the lore of it, I guess.
And that's a nice segue, by the way.
Well, you're our correspondent on the street there. So there were two games tonight, and the glorious. I would argue, this just came to me, but I always argue that the second round is the best part, because all the flabby teams or teams that didn't get the upset or the teams that were upset have fallen away.
I hear that. That's just like saying championship weekend in football
the
is
bowls, man.
Truthfully the best.
Bowls and shit.
Well, yeah, the NFC Championship, the AFC Championship, because those are usually teams that know each other. Recently you've gotten Super Bowls where there's been teams that have played each other, but more times than not, there are teams that aren't too familiar with each other. But, the AFC Championship game, Patriots against the Colts, damn, can Peyton Manning finally fucking dethrone this fucking guy Tom Brady or the NFC Championship? Oh shit, can the Giants really do it? Can they go to Lambeau and beat old ass Brett Favre in the Ice Bowl again? You know what I'm saying? But I get it because it's that familiarity right there, and these matchups are they're fun because on both sides the teams that are playing each other, they have an edge over each other. So you know what I'm saying, you don't know exactly how things are going to go.
And moreover, when upsets happen, then you get to really see funky matchups that didn't happen that much in the regular seasons. And it's just chaos because all the metrics that you have and all the analysis that you have to try to apply to the matchups and shit is just out the window because you're dealing with so much. You're dealing with matchups. You're dealing with injuries. You're dealing with play calling. You're dealing with all types of shit. You're dealing with shit that is a little easier to account for in the regular season because people are more relaxed. Speaking of relaxing, I like that beat right there. But yeah, in the case of the Hawks versus 76ers, you're getting that. You're getting a team that, shout out to the process. I know I've been hard on them and hard on the choices they've made, especially getting rid of Jimmy Butler. But they've hung in there, man. They didn't trade Ben Simmons. They didn't trade Embiid. They filled, again, as we often talk about, they shored up their weaknesses, which was defense on perimeter, shooting, and decision-making, and team chemistry, because that was really the issue. It wasn't that these two guys can't play together. They're phenomenal. They just don't have the shit to tie together.
And again,
they do now.
One of the main cohesive components for that is, the awakening of brother Tobias Harris, because he brings all that together because he's finally figured his game
I would
out.
argue that he already had it. It was just
he did.
Well,
he tried to gun a little
him.
bit too much for me before.
As you said.
I mean, I don't know because he did that on different teams.
But at the same time,
he can. But and now, if you want to say that's coaching, all right. But I think it's
his
more
skill
maturity,
set, which is
else.
around the basket, type. Like,
and he's finally.
He was always good at that.
Finally, Tobias has come back.
In a way, like, his journey has helped that, because in Detroit, he played that hard-nosed, around the basket type of player. He shoot occasionally, but he will leave that.
Detroit, and even before they shipped him off from Orlando, that's when he was really trying to figure his game out.
Because they needed him to be, because it was just a team full of forwards and no guard play.
That, and honestly speaking, you are right in that he was getting better, both overall and offensively. But clearly his best days were outside of right now in Philly. His best days were
the Clipperland.
Out there in
didn't get the shot he deserved. He was averaging 22, and
no. It was only like 19. It was almost 20, but it was like 19.
What made that team go? He was what kind of sparked the reason why Gallinari and all these people were getting off, because you had to pay attention to him.
Again,
especially in all this backdoor plays he does.
Again, that shows you how much of a glue guy he is, but he's what you would call a high level role player.
To that point of being a role player, that besides being asked to shoot more, especially from three, because that's the league now, I think he was too unselfish. They had Al Horford. They had guys who have been more shine on their names.
More shine, just more established.
I was definitely hard on Tobias, not for his ability or anything like that. Again, for the money they were paying him.
Yeah, no, I hear that. No, I hear that because, again, he was on that team with Jimmy and JJ. He was on the team with Al Horford. So, again, where does he fit in? But at the same time, like you said, with his journey and just his journey with this Sixer team, because he's been there for 4 years now, and every team has kind of been different every damn year, man. So, yeah, pretty much. But, you're seeing what he can do with a legitimate coach, and, when the stars are supposed to do what they're supposed to do. He's a legitimate third option, man, because
nah, I'm teasing.
I'm not fronting, but Brett, I'm not. With Brent, he's one of those to where he probably is a little bit too much of a player's coach, but at the same time, he's also, some coaches, they know how to deal with stars and others don't. So for him, he's going to have to, if he does have success, it's going to be those teams that one of those teams where it's just like one superstar, if he has it, and then, a nice squad around him, as opposed to him having 2-3 stars. But, Brent clearly, he was more of a Ben Simmons guy. So, a lot of a lot of the stuff he did got lost in translation, but I don't know about anybody else, but if I'm on the hot seat, and even if I don't feel like I'm losing my job, niggas is talking about me losing my job. Shit, if I'm gonna get fired blazing saddles and fucking
I think that's
coming out breathing fire. Nah, fuck NBA.
And this isn't supposed to be a debate about, or not a debate, but a discussion about Brent Brown. But I think he kind of froze up.
No, it's not.
Because, it's hard when you're like, yeah, you're gonna fire you. Yeah, they're gonna fire you.
And I mean, ultimately, that discussion does have to happen, because we're looking at a completely different Sixer team right now with the same players. And what else is the discussion going to be about outside of coaching? Because, the Sixers culture is whatever it is. I mean, they are truly. I guess I'm saying this more as a Knicks fan, but they are truly blessed. Even though it's funny too, because while Embiid was at the line earlier during the game, they would chant, "Let's go process, let's go process." But for them to have did what they did, whatever the proper way of saying that is, the niggas did what they did, and they still ended up with. Not right now, but ultimately they ended up with potentially 2 top 5 players, man.
And the team built around them finally. They still need some shit.
That's what I mean. They do, but you don't let neither one of these dudes go, man.
And
Why?
It'd be different if they didn't get along.
You can't now.
I could see if there was beef, but clearly there isn't.
Well,
like it's just, it's a chemistry thing.
If you
like,
do,
that's
but
what
if
it
you
seems to
do,
be, like,
it is, and they've clearly figured it out. But again, a lot of that is on Embiid, though.
And I don't want to make excuses. You know, you have a lot of players who figured it out very quickly, youth, age, whatever, no matter what. But I feel like for him, again, losing will do that. You know, having that Kawhi Leonard shot drop in your face is hard.
Dropping to your knees.
Like,
you know what I'm saying? Well, right before the locker room.
On top of that, people seem to have figured you out, and people are making fun of the process now, and then they hang it on you, even more than they hang it on Ben, because people like Ben. So they hang the failure on you because you were the best player on the team.
And look, they really should have won that fucking series, and they probably should have made it to the finals.
But the gods were they chose otherwise, man. They chose the chips in the dip. I got the chips in the dip.
That meme of Kawhi like kind of squatting, trying to like watching the shot hit, and that meme of it being like, yo, that's what it look like when motherfuckers is
just
playing
waiting for them dice to drop.
Niggas throwing dice.
They seeing it. They waiting for that 7.
That 2-4-6.
So yeah, I can still appreciate that this is going to be a very intriguing series. Especially since Embiid came out with Triple H, which is a nice, great bit of crossover for the worlds we talk about. Especially since he came out with the sledgehammer. Like, if these niggas lose, oh my God! Like,
I mean, to their credit, they laid the hammer on them early.
They're doing what they should do, which is take advantage of their advantages, of which they have quite a few over the Hawks, especially size, and. And that's like we talked about in the last episode, the Hawks have to defend these guys now. And I'm not saying the Knicks didn't put up a fight or anything, but they really have to worry, like, offense from these guys. When you're dealing with Doc Rivers,
that's what I'm saying. You have a coach that knows how to exploit. He knows how to exploit his strengths. Does he do it all the time? No. Well, shit, I'm not even gonna lie to you, son. Ty Lue probably has a little bit of Doc in him in regards to late game situations.
At least Doc knows to call the fucking timeout, man.
Son, the Sixers have the best front court in the game right now.
Over Bron and AD?
And in the game right now. And even if they were in the game, yes, because the Lakers' front court is Bron, AD, and
Mark don't even play that much.
Exactly. No matter what you say, the Sixers' front court is Ben Simmons, Embiid, Ben Simmons, and Dwight Howard.
And Tybal and all types of defensive guys and shooters behind them.
Yeah, but after that,
and Tobias Harris.
Once you've named those three, it really. Excuse me, and Tobias Harris.
He's I keep using this point a lot. The utility knife.
He's their tweener,
he just does
bro.
what they're not doing at the time, and he provides the energy.
Yeah, and right now he's their second scorer.
Isn't Joel, who they needed very much, because it allows Ben to feel more creative, and he feels less pressure. He doesn't have to shoot those jumpers.
Ben
can
do what he needs to do.
Even though this year his shooting's better, but
and Ben can do what a point guard is supposed to do, which is be aggressive during the dry spells or when you're your number one and number two option are on the bench. So therefore, all right, now I got to start seeing what's up. Then I can start, especially because more times than not, he'll probably be playing against quite a few bench players at that point anyway. But
to build upon
that's
that,
me if I'm coaching.
What a tall point guard should do, because again, there's always that primal fear of a point guard taller than 6'8", who has athleticism and can get by you. So the fear that this man represents and can finish, if he needs to with contact. So it's like, what is he gonna do? So when he
you can foul him because again his free throws are still sus. So
to get either by you, he can
get the fouls, but what does he do with the fouls?
And people have said this already about him. He just needs to copy KD's game, and that will really be his ceiling.
No, he's not.
He doesn't have to be him.
KD,
I'm just talking about in
bro.
the sense of the slitheriness of this nigga's moves and shit. But Because he
all he
does
has
the
to
same
do
things,
is
pretty
become
much. Like,
just become
and
like
his
a combination
aggression
of like
is also what they
talk.
need, you know.
Yeah. All he has to do is become light-skinned Magic with a little bit of LeBron
And to bring
and a
that
little bit
fucking
of J.
Australian
Kidd.
toughness that he has to the floor, which he does. But
Which
it's
he
like,
does. Just his
They
shit
just
talk
need to,
be
he
funny,
needs, he
son,
needs to
'cause
make them afraid of
when,
him, which is what like my point was. The fact that he's just a 6'11" fucking madman. Like,
Yeah.
like,
You know how he does that, boy? Average 78% at the line.
even just
Then
70
you're
is good enough.
unstoppable. Fuck. No. It has to be 75 or better. He has to hit like most of his free throws. Because if it's 70%, then niggas is still like,
He might. I could gamble.
he may miss. Yeah, especially during key
So
moments.
what is your main takeaway from game 2, or takeaways if you have plural from game 2 from both sides?
Well, that was game 1 and
The Hawks.
the,
that's
well,
what I'm talking
Hawks
about.
was
Hawks
game 2
and
and this
Hawks
one.
and Sixers. Oh, because are we gonna keep talking about Utah and LA for a little bit more? But
Well, that and we'll have to bring up the other
series
too.
preview.
But
Series preview.
honestly, look, the vibe for most of these series, shit, even Milwaukee and Brooklyn is there's intrigue there because Hawks and Sixers is 1-1 now. It should be 2-0 in favor of the Sixers, but they bullshit. So clearly, much like in most series, Game 3 is definitely pivotal. I'm gonna say Sixers and 6, but I don't trust that.
So you don't want me to attach the Lightskin prophecy to that?
I wouldn't call that a light-skin prophecy. I wouldn't. That's just a if things that go right, or not even things that go right. If everything goes the way it should be Sixers and 6. Really, it should be 6 and 5, especially if Ben and Embiid get they 1-2 together.
I'm gonna be contrarian just for fun. I feel like if the Hawks play well, those first 5 that they rely on, they could beat them. They could beat the Sixers, because if you force the Sixers to defend, especially Ben, and especially their guards, because, again, no one can really stop Trey right now on that team. So
that is true, but last thing that the Hawks want is a defensively motivated Sixers
and will be like
and they showed that. See, that's their problem. They showed that shit in spurts because they showed it towards the end of game 1. That's why they came back, and then they showed it at like the beginning of this game in like, let's say like the first quarter and a half, and then the Hawks at some point they're gonna hit a streak of hitting their threes. They have too many gunners for
doing
them.
what Utah like. So, here's this cool symmetry between series on different conferences. They're also doing what Utah does, and they're being aggressive and they're attacking the basket, which I feel like the Sixers probably should have expected. I mean, they expected it out of Trey because that's what he's gonna do, but they're attacking the basket and they're not relying on threes. God. Bohan is the Hawk
Hawks
one, right?
guards.
Is the Hawk Bogdanovic, right? Or Bogdan.
Bogdan
is
Bogdan.
Yeah, all right. So Bogdan
Bohan is
is
the older brother.
attacking the rim a lot.
It's Bogdan and the other gunner,
it's Kevin
white boy
Huerter.
gunner, Huerter, yeah. He was going in and actually those two were doing their thing. Trae Young was struggling a little bit, which shows you that the Sixers understand and know what you're talking about, but they know, all right, we're not gonna shut all these niggas down. We're gonna slow Trae down, and if
John
these
Collins.
two get off, so be it.
How did John Collins play?
No. John Collins. They're figuring it out too, because of their front court. No, he played all right. He wasn't looking like he did against the Knicks, but he's not going to, because even though he's athletic, he's still an undersized power forward. And again, with that front court, son, he's gonna feel it, son, because they're gonna muscle him.
And actually see him.
And now the I guess the fireworks for this series is definitely Clint Capella against Joel Embiid, because there's definitely shit talk. Clint Capella is definitely trying to go at Joel, even though Joel is the better player, but.
Clint also has had a chip on his shoulder in this postseason, and rightfully so. Definitely,
he's always had a chip on his shoulder.
I think it was. God, which announcer? Of course, the God. I'm pretty sure it was the God, Hubie Brown, who talked about how it was incredible that the Rockets thought that this man was not fast enough for their offense. Where now he is on a way younger team that is less injury prone, that runs up and down, shoots a lot, is athletic as shit, and he's still getting 15 and 15 out here, like no problem. Like
forget being fast enough, bro. He did everything that the Rockets needed.
The Hawks defense. So I'm
what the Rockets needed,
really
he did.
Fronted on him, and then try to blame him for the reason that their offense was not happening.
That's my thing. When he played for the Rockets, he already had a chip on his shoulder. Them trading him, that created a boulder on the shoulder, man. And again, of course, he ended up, I mean, look, like the Hawks definitely have provided like a new age blueprint on how to build a team. But again, that you can do that when you draft.
But also not really, because going back to what we talked about last episode, development, right? This team was in the woods for 4 years now, developing as they fucking got this guy and try to put guys around him that worked.
Look, I mean, honestly,
John Collins, you knew John Collins was good, but not
like
great.
Clearly,
there was all these things. You paid Kent Bazemore way too much money. Like there was a lot of other factors. That
was before this
but
rebuild.
That's what I'm saying. They
clearly
had to,
a lot of that.
They had to cut through that jungle to get to where they are now, and look how good they are now as a result of it.
They did, but if we just start with
imagine they traded John Collins
as
they've talked about. Imagine they traded Clint, even though that would have been dumb. But imagine they had. Imagine they were desperate enough to make some dumb move that would have thrown the whole chemistry off of this team.
Son, their squad could be way better because remember they had Dedmon on their squad before with John Collins. They had a couple of different dudes they got rid of, son. So even though they have a squad, they could have arguably the best young and deepest squad in the league.
But hindsight is also 2020. It's easy to be here the Hawks really knew what they were doing. It's like nah, they were.
And sooner or later shit gets crowded.
Many
you gotta
teams
get
were
rid of
fumbling around
certain
in
dudes
the dark,
anyway.
but things are now falling into place with them. They finally gave a coach who actually knows what he's doing a chance.
But again, that was going to be my point. If we just begin with where they drafted Trae Young, clearly a bigger percentage has to be put on coaching now that we see what Nick Millen has been doing.
A third of a season?
Yeah, a third of a season with a team that he's only been with for
and they already respect him.
Less than a year.
Yeah, but we've seen coaches with names go to young boy teams who knew who they were and still didn't respect them.
All right, but those were coaches with names, not coaches
George
with
Karl
names and
is
substance.
That nigga, son, but he still got fronted on by the Kings and other teams.
Honestly, that's his fault for being old and better.
I'm just saying that's a guy who is an all-time nigga, and he couldn't put that King team together or whatever. And they had pieces, man. They had a team.
Yeah. They had Boogie.
And again, obviously, if there's animosity and shit, that's gonna get in the way of you doing your job.
Once again, if you're a head coach and your best player isn't on board, then nothing is gonna go for you, man, at all. You can't be a head coach and your quarterback hates
you. Not you disagree or you squabble, hates you, curses you out. Fuck.
You can't be a head coach trying to give your main guy a pound and nigga dubs your shit.
And again, very little time, scant months, was able to pull a team that is respectable, yes, together.
And turn them into the hottest team in the playoffs. Even after a loss tonight, they're still the hottest team in the playoffs.
a team that they are better than.
It should be 5.
They had to scrap to still beat them.
No, again, because their offensive power, their tenacity, and their youth and athleticism. Athleticism. It's going to keep them in every game, especially since, again, you have you have an all-star point guard, but it could be a superstar point guard with a team that's built for him.
Like their chemistry is there with
and a
them.
culture
like,
that
it's not about who, and people say this all the time. It's cliche, like, oh, well, guys are unselfish and they play together. They're young, but they play for each other. You could tell they're having fun out there.
They rally around each other.
And even when Trae Young's off the floor, they still play hard. Like, it would be easy for them to just kind of come apart because they don't have their main penetrator or whatever. But they get busy when they.
Nah, but that's where the tenacity comes in, because again, when Bogdan is out there or anybody else, you see it's just like, nah, fuck that. I'm the man right now.
And Clint also takes over as kind of a leader because, again, he anchors the defense. He gets all their rebounds. Like, he really.
Yeah, he may be their emotional leader.
Like, I never would have foreseen him talking shit. Like, I knew he had heart and shit in Houston, but, like, you didn't hear from this nigga like that, really, compared to now. Like, this dude has pride for this team.
Well, listen, I mean, when you're on a team with the beard and, CP.
But even
you're not going to be as exposed.
Ass nigga, he's very measured in what he says and how he says it. Yeah, he's competitive and fierce and all that, but he knows what he's doing. The beard, I don't want to say he doesn't care, but it's just kind of like it's kind of way in the other direction from Chris. He's competitive, yeah. He's happy that he won, yeah, but it's just kind of like, nah, like I only have one goal. Like, I'm just trying to get the ring. I don't care about this regular season game. Like, it's whatever.
I'm just saying that Clint had played on such provocative and
he's with personalities,
overexposed teams,
guys who hog the light.
Yeah, so of course his personality is going to be a little like it's going to seem a little bit more diminished.
And what do we talk about all the time? Here's where we have our lecture about perception all the time in sports. His perception was that he was just this is just this athletic center who does this and this. And not, a player who could really contribute to your team.
Yeah, all he could do is just rebound and fucking
finishing close.
Dunk.
And little else. Maybe protect the rim a little bit. And then these dudes had the nerve to get mad when he tested the free market, almost going to the Suns. Shit, imagine if the Suns had Clint right now. Oh my God. And they punished him for it, even though he was the guy they needed to really get their shit off. And then when he left, it showed. Even though Rob Covington played his ass off, like, how much better would that have been if they had Rocco and Clint and just gunners around them?
Rocco is definitely the new G-Force, a.k.a. new Joe Wallace. No, he's way better than them, but he's the new version of
not that. Shout out to G-Force. You were a great player. You were another one, man. You came along in the wrong era. You should definitely have been on a contender, and it's a shame that Michael Jordan wasted your talent.
So I can't curse him because once he went to Portland, son, he cursed himself.
That man, him and Felton came there fat.
So is it really a curse then?
And again, that's as fat as G4 gets, because I think again his thing was more injuries and the way he played.
That and when he left Charlotte, he probably left his best days.
It was this pressure. I guess this is a quick aside about G-Force.
G-Force.
He wasn't. I'm not saying he was whack or nothing. I think there was just a certain pressure on him to be something that he was not, which is the number one option instead of being the spiritual and defensive anchor, which is what he was suited for. That
he was.
That's why in Portland made that move. You thought it was great.
He was a great utility player.
Exactly the kind of guy they needed. And
even him. You always talk about how dudes had come out or played during the wrong time. G-Force now would be beautiful right now, son.
Perimeter defensive would be a fucking monster.
He'd be like he would average like what 18 and like 13.
He's physical, very strong for his position. He can play three positions. Shoot a little bit. Like his shot would have gotten better as a result because now everybody talks about bum shooters in the NBA, but because shooting is now is in vogue, even the whack shooters can drop some like now because they have to. They're forced to. You know.
That and him. Well, again, his real nickname was Crash. There's nobody in the paint anymore, son. So he wouldn't have to crash anymore. He would muscle mad little niggas in the paint.
And even if offensively he was diminished, just defensively, this nigga was a dog.
No, he would average an easy like 11, 12 rebounds.
Like that was his thing, but.
No, he would be a bigger version of like Finney Smith or like we said, Rocco. Even though Rocco got bigger. Yeah, but Rocco's shot is way better than his, but he has that game, like, you know, that Matrix, that Sean Marion game.
So yeah, like, you know, to come back from old nigga nostalgia, shout out again to UG.
But that was also a transition because we definitely got to talk about the Nuggets.
Yeah, season premiere. I mean, it's kind of like a season premiere again, as I've mentioned or alluded to before. The postseason is the real basketball to me, like, and to millions of others. This is what we.
I mean, it's a different season. It's not the real season, but
this is like the mid-season finale, since this is what people are fans of doing now. Like,
I ain't gonna lie, bro. You know what it is. If you put the right team together in 2K, you skip the regular season. You go straight to the playoffs. You really do, man. Shit, even in Madden, bro. Unless you know the type of team where you got to play most of the games, because if you skip too many, you may slide under 500. Not trying to do that. So, you know, you play most of the games up until, like, All-Star game. Then after that, that's when you start to sim a little bit. But, nah. If you got a dynasty, boy, if you got the Nets this year, you ain't playing the regular season.
2 games tomorrow or 1?
Today. Now. It's 1. Nah, it's just the one game today. It's the Nuggets and the Suns.
Well, who you
got?
Game
2.
What's happening?
Pivotal game 2. Nuggets. The Nuggets can't go down 0-2.
What do you think? How do you think they're gonna adjust to getting basically ripped apart by the hottest scorer in the postseason right now?
No, they didn't get ripped apart. Well, he is the hottest.
We talked about CP heroics in the last episode, but what allowed all that to happen
first of all,
carving these niggas' eyes out, shooting these niggas' eyes out.
First of all, once again, shout out to the Lightskin congregation, because the 2 hottest players in the playoffs, both Trae Young and D Book.
Those are your cousins right there, son. Your cousins, they're out here.
Nah, I don't know about cousins, but
what did
you know what I'm saying? I'll throw the fist up to them.
Omani nailed it. He was like, yo, Trae Young looking like Chico DeBarge out here. He's the new DeBarge.
Damn, Chico not even El DeBarge?
Like, he's on his DeBarge. He may not have said Chico. I may have added the Chico part.
No, don't get me wrong. Chico, I mean, Chico definitely had, well, I know one classic song. I don't know about a few, but I get, you know, the more popular DeBarge was Brother L. You know, but that's definitely, that may have been because of The Last Dragon. I don't know, but because it's fucked up. I mean, you know, I guess sooner or later we will and shall have a legit music cast. But Chico DeBarge is like Jermaine Jackson, son. I won't say he's the forgotten DeBarge, but niggas do front him.
It was so funny. Bomani is a funny ass nigga. He was definitely right on point with that.
But no, he definitely was. Trae Young does look like a light-skinned nigga from the 80s, son.
Back to the Valley. What do the Nuggets do to adjust to the madness?
Get a crowbar. Oh, no, I was going to say D-Book. Either D-Book or Deontay. Straight Nancy Kerrigan.
Nah, if they Nancy Kerrigan, Chris Paul,
Olympic
that
style.
would be it right there. That would be the end of them. It really would. They might rally, but, you know, they need Chris Paul is their leader. They need him.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Nuggets
can have shown that they can win without Jamal, even though Jokic is the leader. But, like,
and it's going to begin and end with him, clearly. And you know what? In a funny way, and I said this in the previous cast, the Nuggets are one of those teams to where simplicity is key because they're one of those teams that where, much like the Clippers, they get in their own way. So them missing a key guy kind of helps them because, again, now it makes Jokic kind of think a little bit more different. Now, I think he's going to be more of a center as opposed to a facilitator.
That's also going to be hard because
I mean,
playing him so tough like, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that was going to happen. That was going to happen regardless. But that's another ill side story that you had brought up last night. That's another ill fucking center matchup, and I don't remember last time we've gotten this.
What are you talking about? The center doesn't exist
not even that
anymore
many. So
in the league. Isn't that what they say? Isn't that what they're always saying?
Well, as you said last night, fuck them, so fuck they. But I mean, realistically, in in every series you could say there are legitimate center matchups, or there are situations where the centers are definitely key X factors in every series. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be the series tonight with Rudy Gobert and how, you know, the Clippers want to deal with him, or, again, the early game with the Hawks and them at least having some sort of antithesis for Joel with brother Capella. Then, again, we talk about Phoenix and the Nuggets with DA against the Joker. And then, with Brooklyn and Boston, that's just... They just playing NBA Jam out there. So. I mean, excuse me, Milwaukee and well, I mean, look, Brook Lopez should be able to do something. Maybe he'll do something once they go back to Milwaukee.
Thus far, it doesn't seem like it, which is unusual considering that used to be his building for a brief time. For a brief time, it was his building.
You would think.
Nah,
but
especially
it don't look
given
the
who's
same
on
no
the
more.
other side.
Well, I mean,
Also,
it's
you got
more
Blake
because
Griffin
of that.
dunking on niggas, like on some shit. Detroit fans are upset. I told you it was gonna happen. I told you. I knew this thing was sandbagging, son. Like I knew he was gonna go to some other squad, contender, whatever, and then just bug out, son. And he fronted on Detroit, son. He fronted. Shit is funny as hell. But they fronted on him too, so I'm not mad at him.
And those of us that knew, we knew he was pulling the VC, son. You knew, because I'm like,
give our younger fans some
context
on the VC. You gotta let them know what that's about.
Well, the VC is clearly the Vince Carter, but by Vince Carter in that term, what I'm really talking about is Vince Carter, in a much better way, doing what should have been the Starberry, which was fronting like he was injured, sitting down, not playing games, saying that, my toe hurts, my left nut ain't feeling right, whatever. For the Toronto Raptors.
When they were a very new team.
Not very new,
in comparison, they never had a star.
By that point,
all they had was Damon Stoudemire. Really?
Damon Stoudemire could have been Marcus Camby, but...
And that was also part of the drama because they sent his cousin off the team, even though them... Yeah, because...
Well, he wanted to leave anyway.
Yeah, to his cousin.
He didn't want to play second fiddle.
And we talked about that.
And again, I'm quite sure he regretted that.
Would have been team
one of the illest 1-2s ever.
My God.
They honestly, with that weird squad that Isaiah Thomas had built, they may have made a final.
Would have been completely different because then the team would have actually developed from back in their inception to shit in the last. Like, people shit on the Raptors, but they didn't realize how bad they used to fucking be. Like niggas like to blame DeMar for their collapse, and I'm just like, yo, this nigga is playing his eyes out. Like,
no.
What do you mean the Raptors suck? Because
honestly, DeMar came during the time of the dark ages for the Raptors, honestly, because
it's a perfect story
so
because
so
in a lot of ways he was just all DeMar can do is dunk the basketball. That's what he was known.
Which is what he did.
Yeah,
well, he's a
was
finisher. He was a rim finisher. But then he got his mid-range together.
He started.
And then he got his three-point game together. Then they traded the nigga. Then he got his fucking facilitation game together. But that was because of Spurs Nation. That was because of Pop.
Because Canada believed in him. They loved him. So, of course, he had leadership ability. He just didn't have it yet when he was coming up against, Hollywood Braun.
And again, much they needed a star then. This was before Kyle Lowry came about, but
in a way
Kyle and
it was the irony
and the claw,
because the claw was the final piece. Because then they made all these other little deals that shored up the bench, which is what their real problem was. They didn't have numbers to deal with those Braun teams.
Boy, I don't want to cut you off, but at one point, son, and this is how much I banged with this man. At one point when Rudy Gay got traded to Toronto, boy, I thought he was a missing piece.
Injury prone ass.
If you remember,
Rudy Gay, that they paid mad money to as well.
They traded for him, but they didn't re-up on him.
The irony is he started to play well coming out of injury, and then they let him go. That's the story of this nigga career. Him and DeMar had a nice 1-2, and back in those days, bro, if you remember, son, I won't say he was a top 2 dude, but he was one of the top 3 players that played LeBron the best back in them days, son. Every time he played the Heat, boy, he would put on. You could argue then, according to your light skin theory here, you could argue that instilled in DeMar the fire he needed to go over the hump with a lot of these teams that were beating them in the first round, the second round. They weren't getting into the postseason, shit like that. So,
well, you saying Rudy showing up
to instill in DeMar this is how you do it? I'm not gonna put it all on him. I'm just
I don't know about
DeMar
that.
improved his own.
I don't know about that. I don't know about
that. He's clearly that type of player.
No, Kyle showing up definitely. Kyle Lowry showing up,
He could fucking relate to, but
and somebody that at least can go with you. Somebody that's an all-star caliber.
Also getting fronted on and was kind of like a forgotten misfit or whatever.
Somebody else that the Rockets fucked up on.
And Goran Dragic.
You could have had Kyle Lowry and the beard.
Goran Dragic. Son.
And Goran Dragic.
Could you imagine, son? You wouldn't need a CP. Never.
No, you wouldn't.
Never, ever. And Jay Lynn, nah, I'm funning. But shout out to Jay Lynn though.
Shout out to Jay Lynn, man. Shout out to Jay Lynn.
Not only are you a champion, but the league definitely did you dirty. Another example on how perception in a player and the people he represents can really fucking rise or uplift and sink a player in this league and in sports in general. But yeah, going back to the preview. Who you got? Who you think is gonna win tomorrow night?
You know what? I'm gonna say the Nuggets, man.
As the Nuggets representative or the representative Nuggets delegation here in this show, I am tempted to pick them because they're gonna come out like a house on fire.
I only say that them, yeah. All right, their main 2 guys being the Joker and Michael Porter.
And Paul.
I think the Joker. I think the Joker with a soft J is gonna show up hard J. Especially, but at the same time, luckily they didn't play tonight after he was announced as the MVP.
A lot of emotion. It would have been a lot.
Because had that happened, I'd be like, nah. I'd have been like, nah. The Suns got it, but it's the night after. It's the night after, and I'm saying that mostly because I know he's gonna show up. Because I think this is gonna be one of those back and forth affairs. They're gonna split at home. You know what I'm saying? Because I think Nuggets get game 2. I think Phoenix gets game 3. Nuggets balance that out. Then game 5, That's going to be one of those game fives in both these Western series. Especially that Jazz Clippers.
Game fives are often important.
Actually, both Western Conferences game 5 will be some shit. Both Eastern series, I don't think game 5 is really gonna matter. If it does, then cool. But clearly, that'll definitely be the Hawks and Sixers. If it is the Bucks in Brooklyn, that would be nice. Like if Milwaukee comes back home and gets both games, clearly with at least 150 point performance by brother Giannis and at least 145 to like 47 point performance with like 20 bounds. That would be nice, man. Like if Brooklyn comes back and shit is tied up 2-2, we got a couple of woo bangers on our hands.
Jumping back out west for tomorrow's game, I think I'm gonna kind of go and be wacky for a second. I see a situation in which the Suns win tomorrow because of how hot the Booker man is.
They should.
I don't even say that. I think again your words about the Nuggets hold true. Like man just got named the MVP. He's gonna come in like bananas. I don't even know what that means. He's gonna come in.
Even
he's
within
gonna
that,
show up.
Even within that, like I said, the Suns. Suns may be the hottest team in the playoffs. Actually,
they are
because
the Mavericks
it's the Hawks,
got eliminated.
Yeah, and I mean that's not even the hottest team. That's just another conversation about the hottest player. Well, shit, Luka still may be the hottest player in the fucking playoffs.
I foresee a situation in which the Suns can win. Yeah. There's a couple ifs.
Cause shit, like the Joker can still show up and they can still lose by like
get
15, 20.
They only got starched at the end because CP was hot, but like the Nuggets were there with them. That's what I'm saying.
CP got hot in the fourth.
That's what I'm saying. Like he kind of was
showed
part
up
of the
on schedule
that put them in the ground, but like they were chasing. Like the Suns had to really make sure to keep the stiff arm out, to keep them away, and that's what the series is going to be like, as you said a couple minutes ago.
That and I mean the scariest thing about the Suns is CP has them motivated, D Book has them motivated, DA has them motivated. They're young, but they're also learning how to close.
That's where I want to finish my point. Like they're feeling that, they're seeing the blood in the water. They're the West Hawks in a way, even though they're way better than the Hawks. And obviously it rides on CP's shoulder. We'll see how that goes, but they are also. Shout out to Monty Williams because he's coaching very smartly. They can't guard Cameron Payne. They haven't been able to, even though Cam Johnson has struggled. They're holding each other.
He's going to
up.
struggle.
And mostly, again, I will give honestly a lot of the credit to DA more than anything else because he's getting rebounds. He's forcing the Joker to work, who is the heart of the opposition, and the ops need the Joker to keep that cardio up to win games because he has to make for them to win games. And if DA and all the kind of like younger Suns guys on the inside make him work, which is what they've been doing, it's going to be a problem for the Nuggets because not that they don't have guys that can't create the number, but they don't have Jamal Murray, who was going bananas last year. There's the use of bananas. He's going bananas last year.
This dude, Monte Morris, is definitely showing
he was
up.
The guard to keep, like out of all of them, which is nice. Like good for him. He definitely has been playing hard since last year. And shows that he has the dog in him to like show up for them, and they need a guy. Even though I think it should be Paul, but Paul is doing what he does, which is being the leader, especially when Jokic is off the floor, getting these bounds. And
and if they do the games they win, he definitely
he's their real X factor. Because now Michael Porter's in the limelight as like a dude who has to take over.
And he, what I'm saying, every team needs and
it's him, and he has that
that's Paul
perfect
Millsap
blend of leadership, offensive ability, and playmaking ability, and just kind of doing all that.
Yeah, he has just enough to do what they need him to
do to keep them in the game and to protect their leads. So I'm gonna say the Suns win this and win. They won't win back home in Denver because the emotion of the Joker accepting his MVP will propel them when they go back to Denver. but the Suns could definitely take the next game, so I say they will. Especially if Miguel Bridges continues to play as well as he has. And, D-Book is going to come for them. D-Book and CP are locked in, and that is just – it's monstrous. It's monstrous. Props to the Suns. They've suffered under Robert Sarver for so long. I'll end the cast with a story that really, kind of warms my heart because I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. I don't know if you remember when we talked about this a couple years ago. I was watching something on NBA TV, I believe, or some shit, and they were interviewing Phoenix Suns fans who at the time, I believe they were in that Eric Bledsoe, Goran Dragic, Isaiah Thomas three-way.
The three-way.
With Alex Len.
Something else they fucked up with. With Alex Len, the Morris twins.
Various other niggas. Was Kelly Olynyk there then?
Maybe
TJ Warren.
Maybe
he was
TJ
out
Warren?
of the D League maybe by then. G League, excuse me, right now. But either way, it was during that era, and this old.
Oh yeah, boy, definitely your man PJ too.
This old lady, they were interviewing, claims to be like the Suns' #1 fan or whatever. Besides that weird Suns dude who wears, all the shit in the paint and whatever. If he's still out there, I don't know if he's still doing shit. But
shout out to my son. That's the Raptors fan, son.
The Sikh billionaire. Yeah, he's cool, man.
Yeah,
he's in the Hall of
man.
Fame. They put him in the Hall of Fame.
I don't know, it's not. It's like one of the, I think a 30 for 30 short, but they have something about him.
You're a fan when you almost convinced Kawhi Leonard to stay on the team. That was close there.
If I'm not mistaken, he was going to pay for Kawhi's crib,
they
son.
Hung out apparently.
Nah, niggas was Kawhi, Kawhi was going to get a $2 million fucking penthouse or condo or some shit, some high rise shit, whatever. But he was definitely going. Put it like this: if Kawhi would have stayed out there, boy, he'd have been living out there for free and eating for free.
He would have been almost on par with the six God. God, I can't believe I just called him that. He would have been on.
No.
He would have taken it over from.
Because the sixth guy would have made sure he's more powerful.
He would have bowed heavily.
He wild out, boy. He should have turned that 35 tattoo into whatever Kawhi number is. 2? 2?
At any rate, this old lady, I want to say it was like a Vice or TYT Sports thing or some shit. I really can't remember. Phoenix Suns fans, if you out there and you remember this old lady, let me know in the comments or whatever. But this old lady was in, I believe, city like in the courthouse or whatever during town hall meeting, talking about how Robert Sarver needs to be removed as ownership because he's driving the team into the ground. And she had been a fan, even before Barkley and them, Dan Mara, Thunder Dan and them, went for the chip. Lifelong Phoenix, rabid fan, and she was over here complaining in court about how Robert Sarver is a piece of shit or whatever, and ruining the team and so on. And sure enough, she was right. They went on to ruin a respectable squad they had at the time with that 3-headed guard monster that they had in Dragic, Thomas, and Eric Bledsoe. And fast forward to now, the Suns are a way better team as a result of sucking for so long.
After,
because
shit, what was that?
That was
had
when
to be
they
at
were
least
winning with that team.
2014. Yeah, that had to be at least 2014. So the Suns dismantled that team, then had another 3 years of agony.
And fucking getting, Gortat. Fucking, I don't know, man. Either way, this old lady was so compelling to me because I was that's a real fan. She really knows clearly what it's about and all that.
She had a high level of
I could feel her passion. So we fast forward to game 1. the other night, last week, right? The other night.
Game 1 of what?
Right now, them in Denver. Fast forward.
Denver
I'm
or them in
watching
the
this
Lakers?
game the other night.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm watching the game the other night.
That was Sunday. Yeah.
And they panned to this old lady in the crowd, and it was her.
Oh, that was her.
Like in that front row, like near the front row section or whatever, where they have like their like rabid fans that they put them behind the hoop on purpose so that they're fucking intimidating the away team.
Yeah, but that only works for one half though. But
they should just switch them. Like,
that's just like no.
Just like fuck with people, but
all right, but you always talk about the fix being in.
Like, does that count as tampering?
Not,
but if you're allowed to,
yes,
if you're allowed to do it in the
it's
first
not illegal,
place,
but it is tampering.
When you're on the home court side, I'm saying like.
No, it wouldn't be that hard. All you gotta do is just leave those seats empty.
Those reserved for the.
But no. That like honestly, like what you're talking about, like the best version of that is definitely more.
No, or
like
your
college,
man. He doesn't
sports.
do. I don't think he does this anymore. But you remember your man from Philly who would show the gut, like this nigga looked like fucking Kamala, like had the huge guts, Mr. That was Mr. Philly, right?
But after
like,
a while,
Mr.
niggas stopped paying him
Phillies or
attention.
His name was that dude was cool.
Nah, the worst was I think that was a Duke game. Like it was probably a Duke Carolina game, but it was some weird dude dressed up kind of like a combination of like Hollywood Hogan and the Blue Meanie, and like he wasn't really doing like overly flamboyant shit, but I think he may have pulled his shirt up and showed some
of them do.
I'm not sure,
and it works.
Well,
it
works against those who don't have concentration. But yeah, that's just like Ohio State, like they choosing like the shit. It don't matter whether you on offense or defense. That's why I say like definitely more college football. Like you want the real crowd, student fan section, wherever it's the strongest. You definitely want to be able to take advantage of that, whether, like I said, you on offense or defense, because first of all,
especially since in college they do that whole, they chant the whole time that the away team has possession, which I always thought was so crazy.
Yeah. They chant. You have the bands, you have all types of shit.
The whole way through, like that.
Yeah, whatever.
I agree.
No, like honestly, that's why like I want to say the mid to late 2000s NCAA football games was the shit because like the crowd, especially like the crowds that had mad, or the stadiums that had mad fans, when shit got crazy, like the controller would start shaking just to fuck with you a little bit. So, and you could use that to your advantage too when you were at home. You could press like whatever L1, L2, some shit like that, and get the fuck the team up. But yeah, like that. That's definitely probably the best example of that in regards to like, using that home advantage, man.
Absolutely.
Or that home court.
So that's why I think that's part of the reason why I think the Suns will win. Their fans are it's so cool to see that old woman in the crowd enjoying her Suns really be a contender to the title. Like not even just they're these upstart Suns like they were last year when they went 8-0 and got fronted on in the bubble. I still wish that they made it into the bubble. Could you imagine? You fucking imagine?
Again, there should have been some clause where, like, if a team goes 8-0, they automatically should have qualified.
Because they had, as
I don't
we
know if
said
the Suns would have upset
a year
anybody,
ago,
but
they had the tiebreaker against Spurs, right? Whoever the fuck it was.
Yeah. Well, shit, I will say probably whoever the last two seeds
year, which
were.
Is now that they have the playing kind of thing kind of set. They should have been on some NIT, I don't know, Big Ten shit where it's just like, nah, you two are gonna duke it out for that spot. That's it.
Nah, the NCAA like for the 16 seeds, a lot of like most years now, there's like 4 teams. No. Well, depending on how it falls. If you have 2 teams still on the bubble, you have the 16 playing, so whoever wins, they're the 16th seed and. Whatever.
So I like that.
Whatever region that is.
I don't think the league will do that, but I like that.
And again, but that's because you have so many fucking teams. And again, that's not in every region. Usually,
which is why I like
you
that
only
for the
have
league
like
because they don't have mad teams. Like it's enough.
No, like you said, like, you know,
card,
you
as we
mentioned
talked
that
about
before.
in other episodes and off stream in the past. Like basketball should have that wild card, and in a way, the play-in is that wild card. But at the same time, like, I think the more factors, the
honestly,
better. I like more teams being able to climb from nothing and potentially win it all on some lottery shit. Like.
The reason the play-in worked is because the West is always a fucking fist
both
fight.
Conferences, like not that the Hornets were gonna.
Yeah, but there was more intrigue on the West than there was the
East.
East.
Their way out the bottom, but it was nice to see. It gave the East a shot in the arm that it needs, because we always know, like you said, the West. The West are always.
The Wizards did, but
look,
you're right.
You're guaranteed.
No, you're right, because look, a healthy Hornets team would have been dangerous.
Absolutely.
A healthy
Hornets
team would have been dangerous.
I don't know what happened with them. We'll talk about them later. But the point is,
like, look, a young LaMelo in the playoffs
with mad weapons, Devontae Graham,
Gordon,
like, they had.
That'd have been.
Yeah.
Truth be told, I mean, you know, depending on how shit goes, they may be the Hawks right now.
The point is to make shit interesting, right? Like with new blood, with new shit, you know, new things.
It is. And with what they're doing,
if Michael Jordan,
I appreciate it.
The wrinkle of that, like how amazing would that be? Like,
and he's going to be at those games, but with the play-in and the way that they try to finesse things now, I like it. It's a little weird, but I like it because I can appreciate it, because they're taking the NFL playoff approach. And everybody that knows anything about, you know, like, you know, just, you know, NFL and like the playoffs, the hottest teams that are hot and go into the playoffs, like them hot wild card teams, sometimes those be the motherfuckers that win the Super Bowl. Ask, you know, the Giants, the Steelers, whoever you want. But it's going to be harder for that to happen in the NBA because you have series, but at least you have that intrigue and you have that not knowing, that, you know, the unknowing the outcome in regards to, like, all right, yeah, the AFC should have been this team, but shit, they got upset, so now what the fuck is going to happen?
So it's good that you brought up football, because that was my last question I had for you. Should there be buys in the tournament to kind of even numbers out in addition to the play-in? Because as we heard Bron bitch about the play-in, because of course now he's on the other side of it.
No, he was all for the play-in. Well, look,
like, should
Bron was against them
with their bye, and then the other people, it's a dogfight with the lower seeds, or should it be like as it is now, where the number one could be and number two could potentially be upset, as what happened with the Lakers?
Honestly, no, because like I said, you're dealing with series. It's not just one game.
So no buys.
So, no buys. No buys. No buys in the tournament. But again, that's because you're dealing with series. If you're talking about one game, then yeah, so be it. But because again, if you're a lower seed, you're clearly gonna have to play more games. So it is what it is. So why does the higher seed need a bye?
The only reason I even bring that up is
like
because of the bitching of Bron and higher seeds who didn't want to deal with lower seeded matchups that they're not used to seeing.
And again,
the Lakers got eliminated. Look at what happened. Like they got smoked.
No, again, Bron is Bron. Hollywood Bronovich. If you remember, Bron, he was really against them bringing the season back last year.
He was
against the bubble. Okay, even though he got the chip. When they first talked about the play-in, like you said, he was with it until he realized that he was going to be one of the lower seeds. Like, he was still talking in the manner of, yeah, he was going to be a higher seed, but when he found out or realized that, oh, I'm going to be one of the lower seeds and I have to play this shit.
One of the new hotnesses in the Jazz or the Phoenix, like, fuck.
Or even beyond, before that, I got to play a hot Steph Curry.
Just to get in.
Who I helped to get hot during the fucking All-Star game, son. And then after the All-Star game by slurping him after that. But first of all, Bron has earlier today or yesterday, he sent out one of his his tweets about. Oh, he did the he did the fucking this shit this fucking shit from not Undefeated, son. This fucking movie with you know, the classic Trojan shit, son.
Troy?
This shit with not Troy, but other shit. Are you
Gladiator.
not entertained? Yeah, Gladiator. See, like I always forget about that because I love the Gladiator movie, the boxing movie with Cuba Gooding Jr. and you know all these other dudes. But you know that is a good movie. But Braun did the fucking, you know, I shall have my revenge shit.
He shall. I mean, that's definitely the case. But now he has to deal with.
It is, but it's not because again, like everybody that knows Braun knows that when he talks his shit, that's when he gives. When Braun is quiet and he's just.
But even
focused,
beyond that,
Braun,
the Lakers have a lot of decisions to make right now, and
decisions that again because we're coming into Braun's fourth year now. No, it's not beyond that because well, first of all, he has a 3rd-year option. Well, no, actually he doesn't. This is the only time he never had an option, so it is just the 4 straight years. But their decisions are based upon what LeBron.
So
James
that's why I say beyond that because I'm trying to look beyond the money, even though the money is important. I am of the idea or the notion that for the Lakers to continue their winning, they have to be a less Bron-centric team. And my fear is that they won't do that.
Unless Braun and
yes,
AD centric
but
team.
AD is definitely, you know, that he has to be number 1 option. However, not in the way, no, not in the usage rate. That's what I'm saying. Not in the way
he can't be.
They need to be, and we've talked about this plenty of times with Scrams as well, our resident Laker expert and fanatic. They need to be
and
more
our resident
balanced
Patriot
out.
fan.
And it seems that the buses are making this mistake again of, well, we have star power, so that should be enough to win the day, and that's not going to do it.
I don't know about
based
that.
on the moves they make, it
like
seems like they keep building Braun teams for Braun. I understand why they do that. I just feel like
this team is a little bit different, though. It is.
They have to further
and what you're saying
along what they're doing instead of because again, going back to Hollywood Braun, he will drag them back into being a Braun-centric team. That's what, and I get it. AD was injured. Things were not as optimal as they should have been for the Lakers. However, that happens in basketball, and also further, you see what happens when you get Braun chucking and when you get him fucking desperate to play hero ball. The rest of the team is standing around being like, dude, what the fuck? We're out here with you. What happened to greatness? What happened to leadership?
Once again, boy,
you know what I'm saying? Like, and I understand there's times where the superstars take over, especially in that scenario. You know, but like
no, what she does, but that's under certain circumstances.
THT was ready to play.
Certain environments.
Is my point after that. Like these guys are even KCP, who didn't play as well as he could have, was ready to play.
You could be ready, but if you ain't doing shit,
I get why Braun's taking threes.
You're not going to be out there.
What do you want? You have to put yourself in the best position to win. Him being out there is that. But at the same time, you've been in the league for so long. And I understand you won championships with teams centered around you, but now you need to take that step back and realize, especially since you're trying to be Braun the GM as well, this is what my team really...
Well, he clearly isn't a good GM. So
point. He still has the voice. So if you're going to put your weight into GM decisions and stuff, I would imagine that you have presence of mind to be like, okay, well, Braun configurations don't work anymore because the rest of the league kind of has me figured out. It's not that they can't, they still can't, and this is a play they still can't stop. But it's like, all right, well, all we have to do is just break you down mentally, and your teams will lose.
Yeah, that's a cultural thing.
Again, Cyborg going down was a result of Amanda watching her and being like, I can beat her. Like, and obviously it's easier said than done to do all these things. It's just that I'm not trying to.
No, he is
about
part
this
of it.
veteran
You are right. He is part of it.
We're the same age, me and LeBron James. Like, this dude has been in the league since we were both in high school. I'm not trying to hear that you don't know, and then still try to make GM decisions, and then still try to make Space Jam on the side and do all these things. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't be Hollywood Braun, but like you said, quiet, focused Braun is the one that's going to win the title. And if you are chasing the shadow of Jordan, which you still have time to kind of lap, now's the time to not be a clown. And you're to me, from where I'm sitting as a fan, you're being a clown right now, and then crying like a baby when your team supposedly doesn't show up for you, when I think in actuality it's the other way around. You can show me the numbers all you want. Kyrie Irving was in this position for the last 2 years. You could show me 24, 8-8 all you want. If the team didn't win, then you failed as the superstar and the head of the snake.
LeBron's teams do win.
That's what I'm saying. I just feel like, the theme of the night is adjustments, right? I feel like the league is adjusted.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is.
What? Look.
Again, I'll
Lakers,
say this again.
LeBron,
That bubble
or
title
Hollywood
is not
LeBron.
a fake
Look.
title. They won that. They won that doing...
It won't, but it will be known as the bubble title.
There'll always be that asterisk next to it. However, that team went and figured out what it needed to do to win the title, which is rally around the fucking giant that they have, who really should be dominating the league because of how good he is. Injuries aside, they're giant
front court.
But they don't make the adjustments necessary to make that happen, and they didn't this year. And again, I'll forgive them injuries because you always have to, but at the same time, like, you didn't make any deals. You didn't do anything in the second half of the season to keep that title. You just figured that, we could turn it on. And then this nigga went down with a high ankle sprain, and you're like, oh, no. That doesn't show me the mark.
Well, he's been making that mistake since Miami.
That doesn't show me the mark of a veteran franchise that has been in this position before. With Kobe, with all sorts of Hall of Fame, once-in-a-generation players.
That's fine, but again, son, that's what I was about to bring up, son. Lakers are not... LeBron showed up during their time of desperation. So... regardless of what happened, it was going to be LeBron or bust. And right now, LeBron James' career in Laker Nation is kind of suspect. Even though they won the bubble chip, he's been out there 3 years and they've only made the playoffs one time. Well, they've only had a successful playoff run one time.
All three of those runs, they had to claw. Even though they were a top seed in one of those, like, they had to claw for that. With 2 top 10 players.
Yeah, well, because look, right before the pandemic last year, they were rolling. Now, again, do they get the chip last year if things are normal?
Maybe,
I don't know.
Probably because, again, they were...
Maybe, but like attrition is going to hit them at some point.
And they found that chemistry that they needed, which is what won them their bubble title. They were together. They played together.
Yeah, but you also have to deal with the travel,
the psychology,
home court, away. But it's a lot of extra shit.
The
so
bubble,
I mean,
they
should have been the favorites.
Like,
yes, they should be the favorites.
Different type of strain because now you are staying at the same hotel with the ops that you're playing every other day. You don't have to worry about travel.
Yeah,
you don't have to, you're
like
at
I said,
the same barbershop getting the same lineup.
It was much more. And again,
and so I get to see, piggybacking off of what we talked about last episode, I get to see why fans were like, oh, bubble this, bubble that, bubble frauds, bubble whatever. It makes sense. It was a unique situation.
Son, the irony is that is the perfect situation for a LeBron James team to win a championship. You don't have to worry about all the outside shit. You can let LeBron dictate and control the mindset of the team.
Which is to win that championship.
LeBron, look. LeBron teams and Peyton Manning
also,
teams
they wanted to do it for AD,
which
was huge. Like,
they wanted to do it for Kobe.
The Kobeism factor.
So again, that's why them winning the chip felt right last year, even though it didn't. The Heat winning the chip last year wouldn't have felt right neither. So, but I mean, look, like this year coming up, this 4th year with the Lakers, it's going to tell you a lot about LeBron
priorities
James
are.
Because But I mean, look, I won't ever question his priorities. He wants to win.
That's not a question, but as I don't want to circle talk because now we're getting punchy a little bit at the end of the episode here. But
no, not really, because again, it begins and ends with LeBron.
Make responsible choices is all I'm saying. Your backcourt is suffering. You don't have forwards. Kyle Kuzma's a bum. Like, you need to make some hard choices. The organization needs to make some hard choices in this free agency. And they can. That's the thing. They can recover from this. They can be a good team. Well,
they could. Well, I don't know. I think their best days.
My concern becomes even if they become a good team, even if they bounce back from this and let's say this is not going to happen. But let's say, I always like to think of fantastical scenarios. Let's say they get Kawhi. Kawhi becomes disgruntled, decides to leave the Clippers, is like, all right, I will join Bron finally. Whatever. That's not going to do it. You know, they need a team.
No, because they blew the house for that one championship.
You can't take it away from them. Good for them. But
you got it. But honestly, again, you got it. Probably mostly because of
that. But at what cost, right? You know, like, how long are you gonna be in the woods because of this?
And again, look. Injuries aside, they get another chip this year? Maybe. But they definitely. With healthy AD and LeBron, they make a deep playoff run.
Personally end on this point, and you could do the closer if you want, since you've been on fire right now in the last 10 minutes or so. They were one of the 2 to 6 teams. The Bucks were affected by this. Anybody who went deep in the bubble were clearly affected by this, even though they improved a lot of these teams in terms of lineup, chemistry. They had time to practice, all that, because they had somewhat of a regular season under them. These teams the postseason teams of the bubble had the least time to recover from the previous season. So it goes to show you how great they are that they were able to at least contend. But at the same time, how are you going to expect to repeat either team, like, after you basically sold your souls pretty much just to get to the position to contend for the title in the bubble? And then how to contend for the title again, 6 months later? 7 months later? That's a lot.
No, it's less than that.
And then you have to travel again.
That, but,
and you have to deal with fans again. And you have to deal with all these things again. Like,
see, look, that's more of what it is now, because honestly speaking, bro, and when I sat down and looked at it, it's really just the 2 teams that made the finals. But even when you just start with them, it really wasn't that bad. LeBron bitching about it made it a little bit more like work. It made it seem like worse than it was, because they kind of got about the same amount of time you would usually get off anyway. If you really think about it, son. If you break down from the time we bought everything back till the time where the 2 teams in the finals ended. Give or take like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. They got about the same amount of time. What it was is they went from the bubble to going into a season that resembled a regular season, where it's now you're not just chilling in the bubble no more. You have to move around now. You have to travel now. You got to do this. You got to do that
in a shorter amount of time.
Play more games.
That's why I even brought it up. Just the schedule's already grueling.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me that these teams broke down in the way that they did.
Yeah, no.
Especially because of injury.
Especially the Lakers.
Not even just lack of heart or any of that.
Yeah. And look, in some ways, we are kind of robbed. And in regards to the experience of this playoffs, because the Lakers weren't at their best. Because if the Suns beat them at their best, then
it'd be that much more beautiful. I'm still pleased, but you're right. There's still that bittersweetness of it, but
look, the Lakers got ran into the ground. Now, had they still been healthy, they still may have gotten ran into the fucking ground.
But then you would have had again. AD was.
There wouldn't have been no questions.
A monster out there. So.
Yeah. And even for me, there weren't no questions, but. No. The Suns didn't have an answer for AD. The Lakers didn't have an answer for D-Book. So
they were just getting.
The Suns guards. The
Suns backcourt was freely penetrating at will. So even hobbled up CP was getting in there. So it was like. So I don't know. I guess that's a nice kind of we tie that up with a bow. We see how the Suns and the Nuggets. It's gonna be a dogfight. I look forward to the game tomorrow night. Very much so.
Well, we have dog fights on the West. We have one dog fight on the East and one.
We'll see. It's still early. We'll see.
We'll see what happens when dudes go back to Milwaukee.
Exactly. When they get to put on their Cream City shit.
And shout out to Wayne's World.
Chris Middleton, man, it's your time. I know you know, but it's definitely your time now, bro.
This is your time to show that you're a legitimate all-star, or
also
you're just
Jeff Teague,
a third
if you still
option
got some
playing
guns
second.
in you, man. This is also your time. And Brooke.
And Brooke, man. Where the fuck you at?
Show him you still can play.
Brooke.
I guess
Brooke
that's where I keep saying that like 4 or 5 times. That's where we'll end. No, this is where we'll end. Who's gonna win that? Since that's kind of the next, series that people are kind of like fronting on between Nets and Bucks. Who wins that next game? Real fast.
Well, I guess to quote KD, is that really a question?
What do you mean? Were we gonna be good? That was hilarious. Either way, we've been the perfect plex once again. The triple P, throw them threes up like the triple threat. Shout out to Bam Bam Bigelow always. You should make a logo with just him like holding up the threes. Maybe that'll be our logo.
Greetings from Asbury Park. Even though we're in East Williamsburg.
We'll catch y'all. I guess, in some days, I guess we're kind of feeling the flow right now. The second round chugs on. So we'll talk about.
Stay tuned for that. For that Sunday Night Heat.
Sunday Night Heat. Oh, real quick, because I always forget to do this part. You can find or contact if you give enough of a shit to do so, or yell at us about how, our podcast ain't shit, because I've gotten that on Twitter, which is hilarious, because I was definitely smarter than the niggas who told me that my podcast wasn't shit, and definitely told me that Conor McGregor was going to beat Dustin a few months ago, but it's fine. Niggas on Twitter are stupid anyway.
And them same niggas
is
hiding right now. Where you at?
Aren't so
Where you
boisterous
at?
about how stupid I am on my podcast, are you? But if you want to come and yell at me about how stupid I am, you can find me at Shining Brizard on Twitter, and you can find the Lightskin one on the gram at.
That would be Bandit _light7 on the gram. You know what I'm saying? We could have some sort of banter on there, but
so there you
not
go.
Too
For
much.
the final time this morning, I've been the Liquid Snake.
The Bandit who is light, soon to be the light skin liaison. Sit back and relax to the easy, smooth groove sounds.